In life, we often celebrate the moment someone stands on top, the applause, the spotlight, the trophy raised high. But the world rarely sees what lies behind the smile. Sometimes a person wins the race yet loses themselves along the way. Sometimes the loudest cheer hides the deepest emptiness. Winning becomes meaningless when the victory does not bring peace, joy or fulfillment to the heart. True victory is far beyond what the eyes can witness. Winning may look appealing on the outside, but it is not always true victory. Sometimes a person stands triumphant yet feels broken inside. When the heart is empty, when joy does not accompany success, the win becomes nothing more than noise. If victory comes at the cost of your conscience, peace or emotions, it is in fact a loss disguised in applause. Often, people lose themselves in the race to surpass others. Achievements gained by sacrificing values, principles and relationships leave invisible scars. Success that alienates you from your humanity or feeds only your ego cannot be called true victory. When competition turns into comparison or envy, the taste of winning fades and freedom is lost. Real triumph is found in overcoming the weaknesses within yourself. The victories that teach gratitude, instill humility, and refine your character are the ones worth cherishing. If success leaves you restless, insecure or fearful, it is a sign that you have handed the keys to your life over to the opinions of others. External praise alone is never the measure of true accomplishment. Sometimes defeat can be the greatest teacher. Losses that encourage learning, build strength, and bring you back to your true self are often more valuable than shallow victories. Life's lesson is that those who rise after falling are the ones who are truly victorious. Courage, patience, and self-reflection in adversity reveal the power of inner triumph. The ultimate measure of victory is not what the world sees, but what you feel within. True success nurtures peace, wisdom and joy in the soul. It is not the trophy or recognition, but the growth, resilience and integrity cultivated along the journey that define the real win. Defeating others can give the illusion of success, but when it comes at the cost of your own integrity, it becomes a hollow achievement. When you sacrifice your values, compromise your principles, or ignore your inner voice just to win, you lose more than any opponent could ever take from you. The outward applause cannot fill the emptiness that grows within. The more you focus on beating others, the further you drift from your true self. You begin to measure your worth by comparison, by how you rank against someone else, instead of by your own growth and conscience. Every action taken solely to surpass another erodes the foundation of who you are, and the victories that once felt sweet turn bitter with time. Success without self-respect is a cage, invisible but suffocating. You may gain recognition, titles or material rewards, yet you carry an inner weight that no external achievement can lift. Losing touch with your own standards makes every so-called victory fragile because it rests on compromise rather than strength. When you focus on integrity over conquest, you discover a different kind of triumph. Staying true to yourself while navigating challenges allows your victories to nourish rather than deplete you. True accomplishment comes from actions aligned with your inner truth, where winning does not require harming your own sense of morality or peace. Ultimately, the cost of defeating others while losing yourself is far greater than the glory of victory. The scars are not on the outside but in your own heart, shaping your character in ways that cannot be undone. Real strength is measured by how faithfully you live your principles, not by how many opponents you surpass. When you measure your success by comparing yourself to others, every achievement becomes temporary and unstable. You begin to chase someone else's standards instead of your own, and no matter how much you gain, it never feels enough. Each victory is weighed against someone else's, turning what should be joy into constant tension and unrest. Comparison makes you a prisoner of other people's lives. Their progress, their recognition, and even their failures begin to dictate your happiness. Your thoughts are no longer your own, and your actions are no longer guided by your own values. You start living in someone else's shadow, always trying to catch up or stay ahead. When winning is defined by being better than someone else, you lose freedom. Freedom comes from being content with your journey, from knowing your own worth, and from valuing growth over external validation. Chasing superiority traps you in endless cycles of envy, frustration and self-doubt. Comparison blinds you to your own unique strengths. You focus on what others have, what they achieved or how they appear to the world, and neglect your own progress. Real fulfillment is found in recognizing your own path and celebrating the victories that are meaningful to you rather than trying to outshine someone else. Eventually, the more you tie your sense of success to others, the more fragile it becomes. You are constantly at the mercy of forces beyond your control, and no win can satisfy the craving for superiority. True mastery of life comes when your measure of victory is internal, when you compete with your own limitations rather than the achievements of those around you. True success cannot be measured by the applause of others or the recognition that comes from outside. When people cheer or praise you, it can give a momentary sense of achievement, but that recognition is fragile and fleeting. The world may celebrate your actions today, yet tomorrow it moves on, leaving only your own conscience to judge whether you truly grew. Growth is internal, quiet, and often unseen by anyone else. It is found in the choices you make when no one is watching, in the integrity you maintain when shortcuts are available, and in the lessons you carry from every struggle. Unlike applause, it cannot be taken away, diminished or stolen because it becomes a permanent part of who you are. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. True success lies in asking yourself whether you handled difficulties with courage, whether you treated others with respect, and whether you remained faithful to your values. If your actions leave you proud of your own character, then real victory has been achieved. External rewards are not meaningless, but they are secondary to the growth they represent. A trophy or title has value only if it reflects the effort, discipline and learning you invested in earning it. Without that inner transformation, recognition becomes hollow and fleeting, offering no lasting fulfillment or peace. The measure of true success is the person you become through every endeavor, not the applause you receive. When growth is the priority, every failure, setback and victory becomes meaningful. Life then shifts from a constant pursuit of validation to a continuous journey of becoming, and that is the only triumph that endures. Some victories demand a higher price than most people realize. When a win requires sacrificing your peace, your health or your relationships, the cost often outweighs the reward. Success that leaves you exhausted, anxious or disconnected cannot be considered true victory because it erodes the very foundation of your life. The struggle to achieve such wins often blinds people to what really matters. Hours spent chasing recognition, moments wasted on proving yourself, and energy drained in constant effort create an imbalance. You may reach the finish line, but the journey leaves you fragmented, with pieces of your life lost along the way. Relationships often suffer in the pursuit of hollow victories. Friends, family and loved ones are neglected, tensions rise and bonds weaken. A win that isolates you or damages meaningful connections is a victory that comes at too high a personal cost, one that can haunt you long after the moment of celebration passes. Health is another hidden casualty of excessive ambition. Physical strain, sleepless nights, and chronic stress accumulate when you push beyond your limits for the sake of winning. The body suffers silently while the mind chases fleeting accomplishments, and the toll can manifest in ways that no trophy or title can repair. Peace of mind is the most valuable yet fragile currency in any pursuit. A victory achieved by sacrificing calm, contentment, or inner balance is an empty achievement. True success honors your well-being, nurtures your relationships, and protects your spirit, because the cost of winning should never outweigh the value of the life you live. The battles that truly define a person are not fought in public arenas or on visible stages. They are fought silently within, where fear, doubt, and uncertainty rise like shadows, testing every decision and every action. The struggle inside is often invisible to the world, yet it shapes the character in ways that no external achievement can. Fear is one of the fiercest opponents you face within yourself. It whispers limitations, magnifies risks, and convinces you that comfort is safer than growth. Overcoming fear requires courage that the world rarely sees. And each moment you step forward, despite it strengthens your resolve and expands your capacity to act with confidence. Ego is another battle that demands constant attention. It can deceive you into valuing pride over purpose, self-image over integrity, and appearance over substance. Confronting ego means choosing humility, accepting mistakes, and prioritizing growth over recognition, which often feels harder than any visible contest. Doubt attacks silently but persistently. It questions your abilities, your decisions, and even your worth. Overcoming doubt requires inner discipline, trust in your own judgment, and the patience to keep moving forward when the path is uncertain. Each small victory over doubt builds resilience and fortitude that cannot be measured by trophies or accolades. These unseen victories over fear, ego, and doubt form the foundation of a powerful and meaningful life. External successes are fleeting and fragile, but mastery of the inner self creates lasting strength, clarity, and freedom. True triumph emerges not from defeating others, but from conquering the obstacles within. Ambition drives people forward, but when it blinds them to what they already have, it turns success into suffering. The constant desire for more creates a restless mind that rarely pauses to appreciate the present. Every achievement feels insufficient, every milestone temporary, and the joy that should come from accomplishment is replaced by anxiety and longing. Gratitude is the lens that allows achievement to be truly fulfilling. Without it, even the greatest victories feel hollow, because the mind focuses on what is missing rather than what has been gained. People who fail to recognize their progress live in a cycle of endless striving, where contentment is always just out of reach. The pursuit of more can erode relationships and personal peace. When ambition dominates, attention shifts away from those who matter, and meaningful moments are overlooked in the relentless chase for external success. The very victories people seek can become the source of isolation and regret if they are not tempered by appreciation. Constant comparison amplifies the suffering of unchecked ambition. By measuring yourself against others, you amplify dissatisfaction, no matter how much you achieve. The accomplishments of others can feel like threats, creating envy and restlessness that erode satisfaction, even when your own progress is significant. True fulfillment comes when ambition is balanced with gratitude. Recognizing what you have while striving for more creates a life where achievements are celebrated, growth is nurtured, and contentment exists alongside progress. Success without gratitude is empty, but when tempered by appreciation, every step forward becomes meaningful and sustaining. Winning once can give a sense of accomplishment, but it does not define the entirety of a person's journey. One success is only a single moment in a long path, and relying on it as proof of who you are can be misleading. If you rest on that achievement, it can become a trap that stops growth and blinds you to new opportunities and challenges. True development comes from what follows after a victory, not from the victory itself. How you respond after success, how you continue to strive, and whether you maintain humility shapes your character far more than any single win. One triumph can easily be forgotten if it is not accompanied by continuous effort and learning. Pride and complacency are the greatest threats to sustaining success. When people allow a win to inflate their ego, they stop pushing themselves, they stop exploring new horizons, and they risk stagnation. Success without evolution becomes a heavy weight rather than a stepping stone, holding you back instead of lifting you forward. The measure of real victory lies in consistency and resilience. Continuing to act with integrity, facing new challenges, and building on what you have achieved creates lasting strength. Each subsequent effort demonstrates that success is not an isolated event, but a process of growth and refinement that defines your life. Remaining humble and committed after a win ensures that accomplishments enrich rather than define you. True achievement is not about being better than others in a single moment, but about evolving, learning, and contributing over time. Winning once is temporary, but the path you forge afterward determines the depth and significance of your life. Defeat is often seen as failure, yet it holds lessons that no victory can teach. When a person loses, they are forced to confront weaknesses, acknowledge mistakes, and see limitations that success tends to hide. Every loss exposes truths about character, preparation, and resilience that victories rarely reveal, creating opportunities for growth that are invisible to those who only win. Loss humbles the mind and opens it to learning. It teaches patience, persistence, and the importance of reflection. Unlike victory, which can inflate the ego and mask flaws, defeat strips away pretenses and demands honest evaluation. The lessons absorbed through setbacks are internalized deeply, forming the foundation for stronger choices and wiser actions in the future. Defeat also builds strength in ways success cannot. It tests endurance, emotional stability, and the ability to recover when circumstances are unfavorable. People who experience loss and continue to move forward cultivate resilience and grit, qualities that allow them to face future challenges with confidence and composure, while those who never stumble may remain fragile when confronted with difficulty. A loss can redirect energy and purpose in meaningful ways. It often forces reconsideration of strategies, priorities, and personal goals, leading to growth that a smooth path could never provoke. When handled consciously, setbacks can become turning points that transform not only outcomes but the mindset and approach of the individual. The value of defeat lies in its power to strengthen, teach, and elevate the person who endures it. A loss that inspires reflection and improvement creates lasting victories far beyond the fleeting satisfaction of winning. True triumph is not measured by the absence of failure, but by the lessons learned and the strength gained in the face of it. A victory without purpose is fleeting and empty. Achievements that are not rooted in meaning or aligned with personal values quickly lose their significance. The applause, recognition, and material rewards fade, leaving only a sense of hollowness where fulfillment should have been. Without purpose, winning becomes a temporary distraction rather than a lasting triumph. Meaning gives direction to effort. When actions are guided by intention, every challenge faced, every obstacle overcome, and every step taken carries weight and value. The same achievement can be transformative when it serves a larger purpose, connecting personal effort to growth, contribution, or self-discovery. Purpose turns mere success into a defining moment in one's life. Purpose also brings resilience. When victories are tied to meaning, setbacks and failures are easier to endure because they are part of a larger journey. Struggle is no longer wasted effort, but a necessary element of a meaningful path. Every loss, every delay, and every difficulty becomes a lesson that strengthens resolve and sharpens focus on what truly matters. Without purpose, even repeated wins can feel repetitive and hollow. People who accumulate achievements without understanding why they strive often find themselves trapped in cycles of dissatisfaction, chasing the next goal without experiencing real growth. True satisfaction emerges only when success reflects personal principles, values, or a contribution greater than oneself. When purpose guides victory, every moment of effort becomes meaningful. Life transforms from a sequence of fleeting successes into a coherent journey where every step strengthens character, deepens understanding, and enriches experience. True victory is not the moment itself, but the alignment of achievement with intention, where every action contributes to a life of significance and fulfillment.